Good evening. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America on Wednesday, January the 12th, 2022. And this is Livetalk Diaspora Forum. I'm Jonga, Kandemiiri.
And I'm Gibbs, Dube in Maryland.
We would like to inform you, our listeners, that because of the coronavirus pandemic, we are not able to give you our usual show, and you will not be able to call in since we are broadcasting from our homes.
You are listening to Studio 7 Live Talk. This evening, we are discussing COVID-19 and challenges being faced by Zimbabweans living in South Africa.
But first, the health ministry reported yesterday that 21 people died from COVID-19, while 765 others tested positive. As at 11 January 2022, Zimbabwe had 223,765 confirmed cases, including 199,960 recoveries and 5,201 deaths.
To date, a total of 4,176,397 people have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and more than 3.2 million a second dose.
Another 15,185 have so far received their third dose countrywide. And in South Africa, fears of xenophobic violence, retribution, and loss of jobs has risen amongst the Zimbabweans in South Africa after economic freedom fighters leader Julius Malema ordered his party leadership to visit restaurants and hotels to ensure there are more South Africans employed there than foreign nationals.
Most Zimbabweans are employed in the hospitality sector. Malema's call has come as a surprise for many Zimbabweans, as he had almost remained a lone voice calling for the protection of foreign nationals working in South Africa.
And this is coming at a time when the South African government has just announced that it has given Zimbabweans a grace period of 12 months to allow the holders of the Zimbabwe Exemption permit to obtain other visas to legally remain in that country.
Yebo kambe mahlaba ezolini njani lapha likhona endaweni zonke zomhlaba ezijiyeneyo. Namhla ke ku-Live Talk sikhuluma ngezinto ezijiyeneyo, siyaqalisa ke nge-COVID-19 sibona okwenzakala ke emhlabeni wonke ngathi ke kwele Zimbabwe. Siyabona ukuthi ke uhlangothi lwezempilakahle luthi lunabantu abayi-21 ababulewe yi-COVID-19 izolo, kwathi ke abayi-765 ngabantu abahlolwe batholakala bele kugciwane le-COVID-19. Kusukela nyakenye abantu sebethaphe igciwane leli bafika 223,765, kuthi sebaphepha u-COVID-19 bayi-199,960 asebabulawa igciwane le-COVID-19. Nxa sikhangela uhlangothi lwezempilakahle luthi khona kunabantu 5,201 asebabulawa umkhuhlane lo, bese kusithi abasebejove ijekiseni yakuqala yokuvikela u-COVID-19 sebefika 4.2 million, kuzokuthi ke asebejove esibili bayi-3.2 million. Izolo kuphela ke kujove abayi-4,308 ijekiseni yakuqala, abahlatshwe ke esibili bafika phose 4,500. So siyabona sithi umkhuhlane lo uyamemetheka sibili kwele South Africa, kwele Zimbabwe. Ngiyaqosa khonapho singeneke kwele South Africa. Siyabona ukuthi ke abantu khona ngale bayakhala ngoba uJulius Malema ukhulume esibili into bethusileyo, uthe ke sokumele abantu bekhangela ukuthi abaqhatshiweyo endaweni ezijiyeneyo ngabantu abanjani. Uthi phela kumele kuqhatshwe abantu bakwele South Africa kuqala, kungakaqhatshwa abantu bokuza. So abezimbabwe babesithi phela uMalema uzabanceda kakhulu ukuvimba labo bathi sokumele abantu bokuza besuswe endaweni eziningi zemsebenzini. So singazi ukuthi kuyahamba njani Jonga, ngoba lokhu khanya ngazani kuzwisa abantu ubuhlungu kakhulu.
Hongu wadiwa vateereri nevatariri, tinogamuchirai muchirongwa chedu Diaspora Live Talk chatiri kutarisa zviri kusangana nevana veZimbabwe vari kunze kwenyika kanawo vari muZimbabwe. Inyaya dzekurovana masoro, hazvina basa kuti uri kunyika ipi, chero uri mwana weZimbabwe tinokudai pachirongwa chino. Nhasi tiri kutarisa nezvedenda reCovid-19. Denda iri idenda ranetsa munyika zvatinoziva tose. Vanhu vari kuramba vachirasikirwa neupenyu. Nezuro takanzwa bazi rezveutano richizivisa kuti vanhu 21 kana kuti 21 vafa kubva kuCovid-19, kuchiti vamwe 165 765 vakawanikwa vaine COVID-19 iye nezuro wakare. Kufa kwaita vanhu kwakasvitsa uwandu hwevanhu vafa nyika yose pazviuru zvishanu nemazana maviri nemumwe chete 5201 kuchitiwo vabatwa nedenda iri kubva zvaratanga munyika yose vakasvika pa 223,765 kana kuti zviuru mazana maviri nemakumi maviri nezvitatu zvine mazana manomwe nemakumi matanhatu nevashanu ndo vabatwa nedenda irori. Nezuro takaona uwandu hwevanhu vabayiwa nhomba yekutanga unenge uri kurambawo uchidzikira sezvisiri kuenderana nezvinotariswa nenyika. Vanhu zviuru zvina nemazana matatu 4308 ndo vakabayiwa nhomba yekutanga chete. Uwandu huno hweushoma kwazvo hwakasvitsa vanhu vabayiwa nhomba yekutanga pa 4,176,397 kana kuti mamiliyoni mana nezviuru zana nemakumi manomwe nezvitanhatu zvine mazana matatu nemakumi mapfumbamwe nevanomwe ndo vabayiwa nhomba yekutanga. Vabayiwa yechipiri uwandu hwacho huri pasi zvakare, vakabayiwa vanhu 4,500 chete kana kuti zviuru zvina nemazana mashanu ndo vakabayiwa nhomba yechipiri. Zvakasvitsa uwandu hwevanhu vabayiwa nhomba iyi pa 3,197,072 kana kuti mamiliyoni matatu nezviuru zana nemakumi mapfumbamwe nezvinomwe zvine makumi manomwe nevaviri. Vabayiwawo nhomba yetatu inonzi booster iyai vasvika pa 15,185 zviuru gumi nezvishanu nezana nemakumi masere nevashanu. Tinotarisira kuti uwandu ihwohu uchakwira nekunyura kunenge kwaita zuva nhasi tichizwa kuti hurumende zvii zvayawana muzuva ranhasi. Totarisa imwe nyaya tiri kukurukura inyaya iri kuitika kuzvizvarwa zveZimbabwe zviri muSouth Africa. Tinonzwa kuti zvakutyisidzirwa zvakare mukurarama kwazvo zuva nezuva zvichitevera mashoko anonzi akataurwa nemutungamiri webato rinopikisa muSouth Africa reEconomic Freedom Fighters vaJulius Malema vari kunzi vakakurudzira nhengo utungamiri hwebato ravo kuti hunge huchienda mumahotera nenzvimbo dzinodyirwa vachiona kuti zvizvarwa zvemuSouth Africa zvakawanda ndo zviri kuwaniswa mabasa kana zviri pamabasa zvichienzaniswa nezvizvarwa zvekunze. Tinoziva kuti vakawanda vana veZimbabwe vanoshandawo munzvimbo idzodzi, saka zvimwe zvinogona kuti vange vachityisidzirwa nekurarama kwavo. Zviri kuitika izvi panguva imwe cheto svondo rapera nemusi wechina dare remakurukota remuSouth Africa kana kuti cabinet rakagara rikazivisa kuti rawedzera kana kuti rapa inganzi grace period kana kuti nguva yekuti vana veZimbabwe vane magwaro aya anonzi maZimbabwe Exemption permit yekuti vange vachigadzirisa ugaro hwavo munyika iyi zviri pamutemo kuti vange vachikwanisa kuwana mamwe mavhisa anovabvumidza kugara munyika iyoyi. Saka vakapiwa kusvika musi wa31 Zvita 2022 kana 31 December 2022. Ndo nyaya yatoda kuti kurukure nhasi, imwe yenyaya idzodzi dziri mudariro. Gibbs.
Kunjalo sibili Jonga kukhanya sibili kuyahlupha khona ukuthi abantu sebethwaliswe nzima khona ngale ke kule South Africa. Singazi ukuthi kuyaphumani kodwa ke kukhanya kulobuhlungu kakhulu nxa sikhangela abantu ngendlela sebephila ngayo kungani sokukataza. Besicela abanye abantu ukuthi bebuye ukuze bengene kuhlelo kodwa ke sabamelele sizwe ukuthi bathini ngakhona ukuthi bangene. So ke kulomunye ubaba osisa South Africa ukade khuluma loTambo kulalabanye njalo abafisa ukuthi bangene. So ke singazi ukuthi kozala Nkomo sizabe silokhe simelele baze bangene abantu sizwe ukuthi bathini. So ke omunye wakhona ke umphathela Tambo khona ke kule Melika kodwa ke yena wayesebenza ekhaya sekhona apha khona manje. So ngeke ngaxoxa lo mjaha lapha ke eJonga ukuthiwa Nkomi yaphi ekhuluma ke use Scotland ekhuluma ngokuthi umi njani lapha khona wayenguWindy antu yawazi Windy. So ke kodwa athi lo msebenzi wakhe seChina imoto enkulu ake simuzwe singakangeni kwabanye sizwe ukuthi singenza njani lapha Jonga. Mhambe khonapho ke ungayikhatshana sizwe ke ukuthi uthini umsipha ngakho khonokho ke akwenzayo khona ngale eScotland. Lo baba ke uDimsipha ake sizwe ukuthi ijaha leli ngubani njalo udabuka ngaphi. Sabona baba.
Dube kunjani?
Hayi ngiyaphila, wena unjani?
No hayi ngiyancema, ngisayincema.
Akusitshela Dumbani ibizo lakho.
Mina nguDinkomo yaphi Msipha. Umfo kaMqhuzuli ngidabuka eLupane.
Ngaphakathi
phansi emaguswini komnyambambile le komkhalanyoni. Emzola.
Aha, akutshela abantu ukuthi ungaphi khona manje?
Njengamanje ngise Scotland. in United Kingdom. So njengobona nje ngisemsebenzini njengamanje mbamba mangolongolo lo ubamba indlela lana ngithwele i-44 ton behind me la. So kuyahanjwa.
Uthweleni khona kuyini khona lokho kuthwele?
Lana ngithwele into abasebenzisa ukwakha ama-whisky lapha webona. So all this wheat stuff is at the back there. So ngisayideliver laphana lapha edingeka ukuthi iye khona kuma-distilleries.
Iwakazana ukwenza khona?
Kulo msebenzi hayi ngile 2 weeks ngoba before that vele bengisemabhasini for 7 years lapha. So sengiwabalekela amabhasi manje kusho ukuthi isikhathi ngiyena la kubomangolongolo ngithi hayi umuntu okasebenze yedwa lapha ahlukane le public yabo uthola ukuphumula kancane.
Emabhasini kade usenzani?
Emabhasini bengisebenzisa i-service bus, so ngithatha abantu ngibese endaweni zabo lapho basebenza khona ngibabuyisele emuva abanye besiya kuma-shopping yabo. So that's a service bus, akusiyo la amathozo ukuthi behamba izindawo, but hayi bekusebenzeka khona kodwa-ke kulama-challenges akhona lapho.
Singathi-ke ekhaya vele wakwenza khona ukukhumba ukufundele khonapho?
Kahle kahle ekhaya laphana ngiqale vele bengichovisa bengisemchoveni, so kusho ukuthi ngiqhubeke ngayo le trade yabona. So besingabafana bomchova bekuthiwa hey bayahlupha lapha.
So wawuwindi kumbe umshayeli?
Ngaqala nginguwindi ngisaqogelela imali yokuthi ngibe ngumshayeli. Emva kwalokho ke ngayithola ilicense, hayi ngaba-ke yimina engibamba indlela lami ngaholela owindi yabo. So kanjalo nje namhlanje sengila kunini ngifisa vele ukudonsa omangolongolo abakhulu laba, so but hayi sesikhona.
Omunye kade mbuza ukuthi wawuchaya ngaphi, Mpophoma, Bulawayo kumbe wawuchaya?
Ama-routes engangiwashayela iMagwegwe West, Magwegwe North, iLuveve Gwabalanda laphana, noma i-Country Park to Nkulumane uyabona kosekuseni.
Siyakuzwa kakhulu. So-ke akunzima ukuchayela amangolongolo la amakhulu lawo?
Hayi vele unenhliziyo yokuthi ufuna ukufuqa lezi zinto ezinkulu uya-enjoya nje, uyazi ukuthi it's enjoyable. Okumkhulu ukuthi unanzelela ukuthi uhamba ngento enkulu njalo uthwele umthwalo onzima, so uplane ahead ma uzoma noma uzofika lapho ngathi kuyaxokozela khona ngetransport ngetraffic landani nje ube lonanzelelo yabo. Njeni ma ungena ezindaweni ezingathi zinciphile ukwazi ukuthi uyigega kanjani ungawisi ama-street furnitures abakubiza ngokuthi ama-lights land, ama-signposts and all that, to avoid all that, and pedestrians as well and cyclists.
Singathi kunzima kangakanani kodwa emgwaqweni khona ngapho e-Ireland?
Akukho nzima, but abanye bayakwesaba, kuya ngomuntu I think, but akukho kunzima, yonke into uyayifunda nje ma ulesifiso.
So wena wakufunda wabona ukuthi hayi lapha sikuchayile njengoba wasuka ngakho ekhaya vele ukwazi?
But ngifundile lakhona lapha ngoba indlela zalana zinciphile kakhulu yabo, asifani nezekhaya. Indawo kithi sile mgwaqo ebanzi lana ku-tight. So kudinga ufunda.
Abafuna ukuba njengawe kumele benzeni?
Kumele bafundele ke labo, bathathe ilicense yakhona lana kuthiwa ngo-class 1 lo ucategory C+E, yiyo ama-articulated. So awuthi-ke sokumele ngubalekele lana kulo mfo engimlandelayo laphana, sokumele sihambe lapha. Ngiyaxolisa
siyabonga kakhulu-ke. Phose lokugcina nje usihambele baba.
Hayi ngiyajabula ukuba lani balaleli, ngijabule futhi ukungifaka emsakazweni Gibbs. So angithi ukulibalekela ngizophinda ndiqhume emalangeni. Inkosi Moses.
Siyabonga kakhulu. Bye-bye.
Sure.
So the guy is enjoying what he's doing there, Jonga. He loves this kind of business, from a Wendy to a guy who drives that kind of a a big truck, you know.
Big truck. I think Gibbs, that's an inspiration to other drivers, because some just think that once you are a Windy, your life is finished. You know, you don't have a future. Instead, you be someone like a disrespectful person, a violent, drug addict, or all that. But this Mustipa guy has shown Zimbabweans that with resilience we can go places. Murume watati tichiona apo achikurukura naGibbs Dube ndava Musipa vakatanga vari Windy mubulawayomo vachizotorawo vaifamba munzvimbo dzinoti kunana Magwegwe West, kunana Cowdrey Park nekupi kwavaenda vari Windy, vakazosevha mari dzavo kuchengetedza mari, vakakwanisa kutora chitamba chekutyaira, vakazobva ikoko vakaenda kuUK. kuUK vakasvika vakanowana basa rekutyaira bhazi, mabhazi vakachovha vari mumabhazi ikoko, vakazotora chitamba chekuti vanga vachityaira marori mahombe aya anonzi magonyeti kuZimbabwe. Iyezvezvi vari kurova magonyeti iwaya, hanzi nechitakura zvinobikiswa zvinodhaka izvi zvinovavira.
So he's really saying, you know, some people are scared of the roads, but he's not scared. He's now used to the roads, and you have to negotiate yourself. Because he says roads in Scotland are very narrow, so you have to know what you're doing at the end of the day. So I don't know whether Darlington
vachiuta varipo parunhare regai tinzwa kuti vari kutibata here vachitinzwa zvakanaka. Vachiuta makadii?
Tiripo vakandemiri makadini, ndiri kukunzwai zvakanaka zvekuti.
Tinotenda. Gibbs, amene uri kunzwa here vachiuta?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Tinotenda. Yes, Mr. Darlington Chiuta is a member of the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit Holders Forum. Vachiuta chigaro chii ikoko?
Ndini chairperson Zimbabwe Exemption Permit Holders Association.
Sachigaro, thank you so much, Mr. Chiuta. So Mr. Chiuta is the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit Holders Forum. Iri kushanda nekubatsira vana veZimbabwe vane magwaro aye anonzi maZimbabwe Exemption Permit. Tinonzwa kuti magwaro iwayo akawedzerwa kushanda negore kana nemwedzi 12. Regai ndikanda hangu mubvunzo wangu wekutanga kuna vachiuta. Mr. Chiuta, we understand that the South African government last week gazetted that it has given Zimbabweans a grace period of 12 months, the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit holders, a grace period of 12 months. What does this mean to Zimbabweans?
Yeah, the grace period has always been there, but it has not been explained under law what will be happening. Because if you say we have just given you a grace period, it has no meaning. You will recall that the government withdrew Directive 10 of 2021, which had all sorts of requirements that somebody had to have a receipt as proof of application for migrating to the other permits and the like, and that was withdrawn a day before the court date on the 13th of December. But then when it was withdrawn, there was nothing that was put in place to explain what grace period means. So it essentially meant that anyone would interpret it in their own way. So the new directive now gives direction as to how people will be working. Banks cannot close accounts. Those that are working can continue working. But the grace period is given to allow people to migrate to other mainstream visas like the general work visa. Those who are married to South Africans, they can apply for a spousal visa. And those with critical skills can apply for a critical skills visa. Basically, that's what it means. It's no longer 12 months. It's now 11 months couple.
Okay, because January is already gone.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So now, are people actually looking for new visas or what? Darlington Chiuta?
Yes.
So people started applying. Tell us a bit about that.
People are just rushing in panic. Very few people will qualify for the visas. Because the issue, remember, when the very first permit was issued, the DZP, it was issued even to a person who just had a birth certificate. and the Zimbabwean government became involved, and people applied for passports in South Africa via the consulate. So now to ask people to qualify, as it were, is a mammoth task. It looks like the government just made a decision that they want to end this and they want people to go, but they can't just do it clandestinely. They have to have a way of making people to be seen to have made effort to accommodate people, of which people do not qualify. That's the basic. There is no visa that they qualify for because the requirements are very stringent, especially the letter or certificate from the Department of Labor, where the certificate has to certify that there is no South African who has been found to be competent to do that job. And employers are not going to be willing to apply for that. So they are applying, those with critical skills would have applied already anyway. But the general work visa is almost a non-starter.
Yes, thank you very much for that information. We also have our second guest, and that is
I wanted you can bring in the second guest while Mr. Chiuta can explain that in Shona.
Okay. Quiet, Jonga. Yes.
Vachiuta mungatsanangura here tiri kunzwa kuti hurumende yeSouth Africa svondo rapera nemusi wechina dare remakurukota rakasunga kupa vana veZimbabwe mwedzi inokwana kuita 12 vane magwaro eZimbabwe Exemption permit kuti vange vachigadzirisa ugaro hwavo muSouth Africa kuzvichitevera kupera kushanda kwakaita mapemiti iwaya muna zvita gore rapera. Mungatiudza kuti zvakamira sei?
Grace period yanga yagara iripo asi yanga isina pepa rinoratidza kuti inoshanda sei pamutemo. Ndiyo yakazoisirwa directive nyowani yavepo, and pane vanhu vazhinji almost vese vakawana personal emails achibva kuDepartment of Home Affairs achitsanangura nyaya iyoyi yekuaplya kune mamwe magwaro ekuti vanogona kugara. But sematsanangura ndanga ndiri kuita apo, magwaro ari kunzi vanhu vanogona kuchinja kuti vashandise kubva kuZEP ane maconditions akaomarara zvokuti zvinodiwa zvacho zvakaomarara zvekuti vazhinji vane maZEP havakwani kupinda kumikana iyoyo. Vanhu vanokwanisa kupinda vanhu vakaroora maSouth Africans, vanhu vane atingati critical skills asingawanikwe, ukuthi vanhu vachona mabasa achona iwayo haakwaniswe kuitwa neMaSouth Africans. Then iri kunzi general work visa, zvinodiwa zvacho zvakaomarara zvokuti a general ZEP holder haakwanisi kukwana kwazviri. Ngatiyeukei kuti magwaro eZEP aingopuwa kumunhu wese muZimbabwe airida, zvekuti nevamwe vanga vasina kana mapassport, vamwe vaive nemabirth certificate vakadoaplya, vakadotora mapassport vadoaplyira mapemit. Saka chikuru chiripo chatiri kuona isu iko zvino ndechekuti hurumende yeSouth Africa yakangosarudza kuti haichadi zvizvagwa zveZimbabwe in general. Then ndobva vaona kuti vangaita sei. Munyama watingati takaita vemaZEP ndewekuti maZimbabweans tisi takaita vekutanga, zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe tisi takaita vekutanga kupuwa pemiti. Hurumende yanga isina kugadzira kuti ichazoita sei. Saka kana iri hembe, tingati ihembe iri kudosoniwa yakapfeka vanhu vachiinda, ichidosoniwa yakapfeka. Saka iko zvino vakadoona kuti zviri nyore kuti tiburise vanhu ava, ngativatei ngavaende kune mamwe magwaro avasingakwanisi kuinda. Saka vachakundikana anyway, kana vakundikana tozovatipota. Saka kune vari kuaplya, vari kuedza kuaplya nokuti vanhu vanenge vachitya. Vanhu vagara makore 11 vaKandemiiri. Saka munhu anenge atovaka upenyu, munhu anenge atovaka musha. Tine vana vazhinji vokuti vakadozvarirwa mupemiti iyoyi. Tikatora kuti munhu ane 11 years anenge ave kumagrade 4 uko, Saka vanhu vari kutya, vanhu vari kupanika zvikuru, vamwe vari kungomanya kunoapply vasingazivi, saka zvinongodzoka zonzi rejected, chitoenda wakundikana kupinda. Saka inyaya iri kutonesa chose, asi tiri kumboedza kuti titaurirane, then tichaendawo kumakoti kuti tione kuti pamwe mutemo ungangomiririra vanhu, sezvo vanhu vane makore 11 vachigara munyika yeSouth Africa.
Thank you so much, Chiuta.
So yes, we've got another guest, and that is Wendy Dumazile Nkomo. Siyamukela kuhlelo Nkomo.
Ngiyabonga baba Dube linjani nabalaleli.
Hayi siyaphila kakhulu. Ye akutsho ukuthi ukhona ngapho ke kule South Africa umomo ume njani khonapho mama?
Hayi umomo awumanga kahle ngoba ezithi sike sabona abanye abafowethu kade bahambile ekhaya bebotshwa izinto ezinjalo lasezinkundleni zokuxhumana lapha siyathola ama message abuya kuma organizations abunjwanga abahlali balapha ukuthi bazongenela abantu ezindlini into ezinjalo lasemsebenzini. Siyakwazi sonke ukuthi wonke umuntu empilweni ufuna ukwazi ukuthi ume ngaphi ngokwempilo ngoba kunje asisakwazi ukuthi sime ngaphi ngelama permit kuyophetha ngani ngoba abantu balabantwana lemisebenzi inja usikwazi ukuthi emsebenzini kuzayenze njani. So akumanga kahle impela ngoba wonke umuntu uyazibuza ukuthi kusasa likuphi, sisuka lapha siqonda ngaphi.
Yeah.
Ukuthi kudala silapha, so kunzima baba Dube nxa ucabanga ukuthi kuzophetha ngani.
So wena usuhlala isikhathi esinganani khonapho ubambe ipermit naleyo? Usule isikhathi eside kakhulu.
Mina ngayithola eqala ama permit ngo-2010. Ngayithola yami lami khonapho.
Wasebenza endaweni eziningi kakhulu sibili.
Ya ngasebenza lapha engisebenza khona seseneminyaka ngisebenza. I'm sure sengile minyaka eyu-12.
So kutshoni khonokho nxa ukuthi ubambe ivisa naleyo ukwazi ukuthi ipermit leyi ukwazi ukuthi vele iza expire ngoDisemba lonyaka, kutshoni enhlizweni yakho sibili nxa watshela abantu ujule sibili ukhulume okusenhlizweni yakho?
Kunzima kakhulu ngoba angikwazi ukuthi kusasa likuphi ngoba loba ungathi uya-applya ungalayo leyo critical skill kufana nokudlala, so kuze usicabangisa kabili kathathu ukuthi senze njani, sizihambele or sizabanjwa ngoba asikwazi ukuthi ikusasa limi ngaphi, asikwazi impela.
So wena usuzamile yini ukuthi uqalise uku-applya kumbe kade ungakaqalisi?
Hayi mina bengingakaqali ngoba into engakagazethwa i-government uyabungakwazi ukuthi baza rejecta kumbe njani ngoba lapha kufunakala abantu bama-critical skills. Yabona ngesikhathi ezinje sokusuka kucina sokusiba lezikamu, what if bangayirejecta, so bese ku-announce ukuthi maybe abantu banga-applya bona baba bevele be-applyile, so ngizoma kuphi? So angikwazi, ngimi phakathi laphakathi kolwandle, angazi ukuthi ngiqondeni.
Yeah, so hold on khonapho ke Wendy ungayikatshana ube mute button yakho, siyabuya kuwe in some seconds. So ke Jonga, what she's saying here is, she has been under this permit for almost 12 years. So she says she doesn't know what to do now because at the end of the day, even if you apply and it's rejected, you won't even figure out what to do because she says maybe this is a kind of diplomatic way of getting rid of Zimbabweans, who are in South Africa. So she says many people are really confused about what to do next.
Yes, that's what Mr. Chiuta just explained. So they are talking of the same thing, that it's going to be very difficult for Zimbabweans. It's just like a way of the South African government getting rid of Zimbabweans through that. And Gibbs, these critical skills that they are talking about, that is something that is very rare in some instances.
Mhm.
Because, you know, many companies, they groom people. And once they groom people, they can say, yes, we need critical skills. But many Zimbabweans who had those critical skills have been grooming South Africans. And now they can say, we have people who are equipped.
It's
then
enough.
and then they get rid of these foreigners. Yet these foreigners were the very people who trained these South Africans.
You know, when we talk about critical skills, there's a lot that the South Africans want. You know, people like nuclear physicists, you know, a person who knows how to design some nuclear things. We are talking of, you know, structural engineers,
Yes.
and those structural engineers should be very qualified. You know, there are certain segments of their kind of qualifications. They don't want a person who come to South Africa and work in a restaurant. They don't want a person who will be in South Africa selling anything along the streets.
Yes, but
All
my
those kind of things. You know,
how many people will qualify for the
that's all right.
yes
It's
for that
difficult, yes.
skilled job?
Difficult. Yeah.
That's the problem now, because maybe you will need one who will teach others.
Mhm.
You see, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we can bring in Mr. Chiuta and
Yes.
ask him about this position taken by the Malema party, led by Mr. Malema, the Economic Freedom Fighters Party,
Mhm.
that they are going to visit hotels and restaurants to ascertain how many South Africans are there and how many foreigners are there. Vachiuta, munoti nedanho irori raziviswa nebato re-Economic Freedom Fighters rekuti vachapinda mumahotera nemunzvimbo dzeudyira vachiona kuti mune zvizvarwa zveSouth Africa zvingani, zvekunze zvingani.
Maitiro avari kuita haana kusiyana nevamwe vose vakaita sana vaHerman Mashava nana Put South Africa First nechi vari kungotaura zvinhu zvimwe chete asi vachitaura nenzira yakasiyana. Vamwe ava vari kuti vachapindira vashandi, ivo vari kuti vachapindira vashandirwi, asi vanhu vanoruza pakupera kwazvo vashandi, nekuti kana vakapindira vashandirwi vakanoudza vashandirwi kuti sei imi makatora zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe, zvinoreva kuti vashandirwi vaya vachadzinga zvizvarwa zveZimbabwe. Munyama wataita ndingati rushambwa rwataita apa ndegwekuti pama-elections atabhaya mamwe mapati akakoromoka kubva paanga ari. Mapati manyowani akapinda ose akapinda nenyaya iyoyi yekuti hatidi vanhu vasiri vemuno. Vamwe vachiti kana tahwina isu tikakunda tinodzinga vanhu vasiri vemuno. Saka ANC sepati hombe yakaruzavo nenyaya iyoyo, EFF yakaruzavo nenyaya iyoyo. Saka tine ma-elections mahombe avo avari kuita ma-harmonized elections ari kuuya 2024. Saka yose pati iko zvino yave kutaura zvayakaona zvakahwinisa vamwe, nokuti mukatarisa vaJulius Malema munhu anga akamira chaizvo achisapota maAfricans ose, vakatombobuda kune mavhidhiyo aripo vachiti kana ini ndikanzi ndirizaine nenyaya yekuti ndasapota maAfrica ndinorizaina nhasi. Saka U10 yavo iyi iri kukonzerwa nokuruza kwavakaita. ANC wokutanga kubata maZEP holders zviri kukonzerwawo futi nokuruza kwavakaita. Saka vanofanira kuonekwa kuti vane chavari kuita pamaforeigner. Tamira isusu pakati manje pekuti vamwe vari kutatsurira uku vamwe vari kutatsurira uku, asi kadhi iko zvino rinoratidza kuti rinogona kuwinisa nderezvezvagwa zvisiri zvemuSouth Africa. Saka chinodori chibodzwa chinodogwadza chaicho chekuti pati yanga yakasimba yakabharira vanhu vemuAfrica vose kuti tiri maAfricans tose seyava Malema yave kudzokera kumashure. Saka vakangonotaura nevashandirwi kureva kuti vari kungoti vashandirwi dzinga izvi zvagwa zvisiri zvemuno muSouth Africa.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chiuta. Gibbs.
So now, what's happening? You know, like when we look at Julius Malema, we thought he was always saying, you know, Africa first and not South Africa first. What has he seen along the way?
Yeah, the issue now with Julius Malema is that, unfortunately, the foreigner issue has become the biggest trump card in being elected. So no matter what his conscience says, he still needs to win votes. He is a politician. That's how they thrive. Now, instead of him making a straight U-turn which says, okay, I was saying this about foreigners, now this is my stance. He is making it diplomatic to say we are going to be talking to the employers. But talking to the employers is the same result, just as chasing the foreigners away. The result is the same. The foreigners will be removed. So he is basically trying to canvass himself for the 2024 elections. And unfortunately, the non-renewal of the ZEP has come at a time where all the parties are now campaigning for 2024. So that's our demise now. But we are going to try and talk to the government. We have got lobby groups. We have got court cases that are in place. And unfortunately, people use the words fight. I don't know where people get those words. Some words make negotiating difficult. When we go to court, we are not saying we are fighting the government. No, we are not. We are just trying to say, okay, thank you for the permit that you gave us, but in the process, were there no rights that were created for people that are now being violated by the administration when they implement things in this way? So it's basically administration to try and find ground between us and the South African government. Unfortunately, when we talk and when some people talk, they want to use the words fight. When you lobby, you are not fighting. You are just trying to make the point to be seen from your side as the person who is on the receiving end. That's basically what we are trying to do within these 12 months. Probably to try and come to common ground with government. They waive some of the requirements of the general work permit to accommodate everyone, like the domestic workers and the general farm workers and the like, because all the ZEP holders are not illegal. They are legal immigrants who are about to be made illegal. And these people are law-abiding people who actually heeded the call for amnesty. That's what it was called when it was given to Zimbabweans. And that the very first permit was actually a very good permit, which even the business sector had confidence in it. People bought houses, people bought cars, because the stringent conditions only came when we moved from GZP to ZEP. So you find that there was a shift which we feel was actually a bit of bad faith from government to say the first permit was good. The first permit we were talking amnesty, we had a very good language, very cordial. Then when we got to the second permit, because we were already in, then the goalposts were shifted and no one was consulted. If anyone was consulted and negotiated on our behalf, then those negotiators actually betrayed us, because we had a permit which showed good faith, which then drastically changed and started to have some hostility in it, that you cannot renew it here, it does not take you to permanent residence. All those conditions are not there on the first permit. So we are trying now to lobby the government on all fronts. For now, every stone counts in this issue. So we are trying by all means possible that everybody be accommodated. Then those who want to return back to Zimbabwe can return on their own accord. Not that it's the only choice.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and hold on there. Let's go to Victress Mathuthu of Zim Imbowoto. Siyamukela kuhle lo mama.
Angiyabonga Dube, salibonani ninjani?
Hayi siphilile kakhulu. Yeah, so siyabona ukuthi udaba lolu kulama permits lokho siyaphambili. Kulabanye abalokho besithi ngcono udaba lolu lwenkantolo abanye njalo besithi hayi akumelanga ube njalo ngcono sikhulumisane nohulumende. Pho kumele kwenziweni lapha-ke Nkosazana Mathuthu?
Okokuqala ngicabanga ukuthi kukhulunywa ikakhulu ungqongqoshe weze-Home Affairs lo u-Aaron Motsoaledi uyayathi i-decision yama-permit lama-ZEP yayingasiyo ye-Home Affairs, kwakuyi-decision ye-cabinet for eZimbabwe nase-South Africa. So uyakathi i-Home Affairs ayingeni ndawo lapho i-decision ye-cabinet, okuyikuthi i-decision leyo yokuthi ama-permit engasavuselelwa i-decision esiyikholela ukuthi ivele ku-cabinet hhayi kwi-ministry ye-Home Affairs. So i-cabinet ye-South Africa kutho ukuthi ikhulumile la yaseZimbabwe ngoba isikhathi esiningi sasizwe kuthiwa ama-permit ma ezophela kuyabe kube lezi nkulumo eziba khona phakathi kweZimbabwe ne-South Africa e-cabinet zakhona. Singazi ukuthi bathe behlala phansi beyi-cabinet yeZimbabwe la ese-South Africa baphuma lokuthi ama-permit engasavuselelwa. Angicabanga ukuthi kumele kuyiwe court, kodwa kumele kuhlale phansi kukhulunyiswana. Angithi nasekuqaleni kwakuhlale phansi kwakhulunyiswana, waboniswana ukuthi kunesidingo sokuthi kube le-special permit. La manje ma sokufika esikhathini sokuthi i-cabinet ye-South Africa ithi yona asisekho isidingo sokuthi kube lama-special permit. Nxa kuyikuthi thina njengezizalwane zeZimbabwe siphethe lawo ma-ZEP, siyakubona ukuthi akusiphathanga kahle njalo akusonto right ngoba kuningi ebesikwenza ngamala ama-ZEP singabe sisakwazi ukwenza mase singaselawo. Isinqumo esingathathwa ukuthi kuzame ukuthi kukhulunyiswane nohulumende we-South Africa, i-cabinet leyo ephuma lesinqumo kukhulunyiswane. Angicabanga ukuthi kumele kuze kubotshiswane, kumele ukuthi kukhulunyiswane. Ma kule ndlela yokukhulumisana ukuthi kubeke izizathu, sizwe izizathu ze-cabinet ukuthi kungani ifinyelele esinqumweni esinjalo, lathi sibeke zethu izizathu ukuthi hayi isinqumo leso lifinyelele kiso thina sisiphatha kanje, sibeke ama-advantages lama-disadvantages aleso sinqumo abasibekileyo. Ngicabanga ukuthi ngowami umbono akungabotshiswana kodwa akukhulunyiswane. Ilobbying yona le ekhulunywayo ngiyayisapota mina.
Yeah, so Jonga, what she's saying is that this is not an issue that should be taken to court. Says it's a political kind of game which has to be played around here instead of taking the matter to court, because it was a cabinet decision to ensure that Zimbabweans get these kind of permits. So she says some people maybe are making mistakes by taking this matter to court. So she's totally opposed to what Darlington Chiuta is saying. So at the end of the day, these are some of the sentiments that are being expressed by some people based in South Africa who come from Zimbabwe.
Yes, I think Mr. Chiuta can respond to Ms. Mathuthu. Mr. Chiuta, I think you heard what Ms. Mathuthu just said. Gibbs explained that she is saying that I think it's a mistake to go to court because of the decision by the South African government. What's your take on that?
I think I will have 2 points to that. We must understand that when someone goes to court, it's the last resort. And also people should understand that there has been lobbying and there has been communication with the Department of Home Affairs that has been going on. And the reply that we have been given always is that we are going to come back to you. This issue is before cabinet. We had a meeting with the Zimbabwean embassy in December, and we asked them the same, to say what is your stance and what is the negotiation level between the Zimbabwean government and the South African government, because we also believe that if governments can talk to each other, there is no reason to go to court. We strongly believe in that. But then they said that the communication route is that they go via the Department of International Affairs, and they have written to the Department of International Affairs requesting a meeting with the Home Affairs Department, and up to now, they have not yet had any feedback. So what we look at is, while the permits came as a result of negotiations, negotiations are always good, but you can negotiate when the other party is willing to negotiate. If they don't give you a hint that they are not going to renew the permit, like what the ambassador said, and then the next thing you hear from the announcement that there is no renewal, it therefore signifies that negotiation is probably off the table. And the chances of cabinet going back to sit down and reversing the decision that they made is almost none, because that will be a sign of weakness on their part. Like they made a wrong decision, now they are making a U-turn. It means opposition is going to make a meal out of that. So if there is no negotiation that is coming forth, what then is the next alternative? The next alternative, which is supported by the Constitution of South Africa, which fosters human dignity, is then going to court. And going to court should not necessarily be seen as a wrong thing, like I said earlier on, to say that when you go to court, you are not fighting. You are simply requesting somebody to check under law that are your rights not being taken away from you. And like the lady said, negotiation is the best. But do you negotiate when that option seems to be off the table? When that card is off the table, how do you negotiate?
Thank you very much. Stay on the line there. Let's get to Wendy, Dumazile Nkomo. Wendy, usakhona mama? Yeah, so ke khonapho ke nxa ukhangela wena ubona ngani udaba lolu luya ngaphi Mankomo?
Lunzima ngoba njengoba besitsho lapha ubhuti uJuta lapha nje abona mase kungena lama opposition parties lo malema umuntu akade simthembile sisithi uyasimela singabantu abansundu simelana la mase zakhuluma ngeyakhe indlela kodwa la uyizwayo umuntu omdala ukuthi hayi ukubeka kahle kodwa iyalapha nxa bezathi sebehamba bengenela abantu emsebenzini becheck ukuthi kusebenza abantu abangaki lento leyi isisibanzima kuzizalwane zakithi zaseZimbabwe, so kuzaba nzima mpela angazi ukuthi kuyophetha ngani or kuyophetha umuntu yena sevolunteer ukuthi hayi mina sengizihambele ekhaya kumbe njani, angazi ukuthi kuyophetha ngani.
Wena ke nxa ungazikhulumela ubona ngani kuwe kuyaphetha ngani kulokho?
Angabi sure kodwa hayi mase ngibona ukuthi hayi akusela ngenye iplan, hayi ngikuzihambela lapho engabuya khona, lapho engivela khona, ayikho enye iplan ngoba phela ngeke uzoforce.
So uzabuyela lapho uvela khona ufike wenzeni njengoba sikwazi ukuthi kumi njani kwele Zimbabwe kusuze kukhahlameze kakhulu khonokho njalo khona ukwazi ukwenzile kule South Africa ulani ukuthi ungavezela abantu sibili ukuthi uyazi usuhlezi njani?
Angeke ngize ngikudalule khona kunzima ukuqala impilo katsha phansi kunzima, kodwa-ke ma usufakwe ekhoneni uzoyenza njani? Eza phela impilo yakho or izinto lezo sizitshoyo, so kuyobonakala khona ukuthi kuyophetha ngani. Maybe sokungaba imimoya ingayehla, maybe sokungaba lokunye lapha ama-human rights bangenele, maybe singezwe okunye okungcono ngoba akuyenzi ukuthi ngemva kweminyaka emingaka abanye sebelabantwana, so uyaqalela kuphi ngoba siyakwazi ukuthi sonke ekhaya kunjani, kunzima.
Yeah, so singathi ke khonapho Wendy nxa sisikhangela sibili kulabanye bathi ukuthatha udaba lolu baluse enkantolo ayisondlela eyiyo, kumele kukhulunyiswane phakathi kukahulumende we South Africa lohulumende weZimbabwe kanye labantu abeZimbabwe abalama permits lawa. Wena ubona ngani kumele kwenziweni? Kumele kuhanjiswe ecourt yini lokho?
Hayi ngivumelana noMathuthu ukuthi akuxoxiswane, kuzanywe ukuthi ohulumende bonke bobabili bezama ukuthi behlangane phakathi laphakathi ngoba zabantu lezi kunzima impela ngoba hey amakhoti yiwo futhi adale konke ingqushu yonke le esiphakathi, yabona sokungathi thina sesi-challenge lo mthetho walapha. Maybe ngabe kwakwenziwe ngenye indlela. So asazi.
Yes, hold on khona ngapho ke ungayikhatshana Nkomo. Siyabuya kuwe ngesikhatshana nje esilandelayo. So like what Mathuthu said, Miss Mathuthu said, you know, she doesn't believe that this matter should be taken to court. She's totally against it, saying that, you know, in the first place they were granted these permits because the South African government actually agreed with the locals, that is other stakeholders, for them to be given those kind of permits. Maybe let's go to Chiuta, then we come to Mathuthu. Jonga.
Yes, Chiuta.
The issue that is there that we should look at is that when people talk of negotiations, they are saying we are negotiating. You don't negotiate alone. To get to this result that there is not going to be renewal, there was no negotiation. Negotiation had been thrown out already. Even our government tried to negotiate, but they were just told that the matter is going to cabinet. And when the decision was made, our government was not informed. They only heard on the announcement. So there is no negotiation there. Remember, I said that I am pro-negotiation if the negotiation card is still on the table. But from the look of things, it is no longer there. Then our government, after the announcement, has said they respect the sovereignty of South Africa, so they respect the decision, and citizens must come home. So there is no expectation from our government to say that they are going to initiate any negotiation, because they have already alluded to the fact that a decision was made by South Africa as a sovereign country. So they respect that, and what they will try and do is minimize disruption, and I don't know how. Most people, they have got somewhere to go, back home to go to. But I will give you a picture of a person who came, say, at 16, who got the permit at 16 in South Africa. It means that person is now turning 28, and they have already built a family. And some probably never got back home, so there is no home to talk about. For us adults, it's fine. We can go back home. That's our home. We come from there. We have lived there until we came this side. But what about the children that were born here and raised here? There are issues, for example, of children who are doing grade 11 now, who will be doing matric next year. Matric will be equivalent to A level when they go home. And those children have been learning Afrikaans or Zulu or Sotho. So when they go home, where do they start? We have got university students that are in their first, second year. If they are going to go home, it means these students, their sponsors, as it were, their guardians, will have gone home. How do they complete their university education? So there is a lot that affects children much more than parents. And like I said, you only negotiate with somebody who still has got the negotiating card on the table. So if that is not there, how do you negotiate? And people should also not look at going to court as a wrong thing. We have to correct things there. Courts are there to uphold the laws of the country. And anyone, anywhere, in any country in the world is protected by the laws of that country. So going to court is simply requesting the courts of South Africa to check if there are no rights of the people in South Africa being trampled on by the administration of South Africa.
Right, thank you very much. So let's turn to Victress Mathuthu. Kusasana Mathuthu. Sungathi ke uvale khonapho ke utsho lokuthi vele kuyiwa phambili sokwamele kwenziweni mama. Mathuthu, go ahead mama.
Ngiyamuzwa uJunta into ayikhulumayo angithi. The thing is, yes, he's saying court is not a wrong thing. We are not saying it's wrong. Going to court is a wrong thing, but as for now, we're just saying let's try other ways. Then let going to court be the last thing we do. If this is amazing, and we are trying to negotiate with South Africa. We are not saying we negotiate so that they can reverse the decision. Renewal of ZEP. Maybe let's negotiate so that they can make it a bit easier for ZEP holders to migrate to general work permit or something like that. Because as it is now, it's not easy. I've just tried to go online and check how I'm going to migrate from ZEP to a general work permit. It's something that's not easy. It's not easy because in the first place, the reason why they were they introduced special permits is because a lot of us Zimbabweans did not qualify for those general work permit or critical skills permits. We did not qualify. That's why the special permits were introduced. So there is no way that in those 10, 11 years we have had the special permits, we have acquired a right requirement for general work permit or critical skills permit. We do not acquire anything. We are still the same people, who applied for PZP in 2010. We haven't acquired any requirements that will allow us to migrate from ZEP to any other permit. So now when we say let be negotiations, we're not saying the South African government must reverse their decision, but we're saying they must make it a bit easier for us to migrate from ZEP to other permits. Because now to say they must reverse the decision, it will be like impossible. It will be unfair to them because whoever has had that decision that the ZEPs are not going to be renewed, then if the government comes back and say, okay, we are reversing that, then I think it's unfair to them because people won't trust the government, the cabinet anymore, because the cabinet will be swayed. If people say this, the cabinet will come back and change decisions. So what we are asking for is maybe at least let them make migrating from ZEP to another permit a bit easier than it is now. That's the negotiations that me as Victress Mathuthu is looking forward to. That if there are negotiations, let the negotiations be along those lines. Yeah. And then what I understand again is if we go to court, yes, court is not wrong, like Chiuta is saying. But what if we lose? Then what if we lose? Then I think us going back to Zimbabwe or us, the chances of us even migrating to other permits will be very slim, maybe close to none. So now what will happen to all these 178, 180,000 ZEP holders? And the other thing, the 180,000 plus minus 180,000 ZEP holders are just a drop of Zimbabweans who are living here in South Africa. Now the focus is on ZEP because the ZEP is expiring and it's non-renewal. But the fact is that number of the ZEP holders is just a drop compared to the number of Zimbabweans who are living in South Africa. So now I think this ZEP non-renewal thing is going to force everyone. It's either you once had a ZEP or not. You are still a Zimbabwean. If every Zimbabwean is forced to go back, then it means millions of Zimbabweans who are in South Africa will be forced to go back, not only the 180,000 that have got the ZEP. So now the government is saying it's accepting the decision by the South African cabinet about the ZEP. Let Zimbabweans come home. Come home and do what? I don't think we even need the government now to negotiate, because if the government has said that the Zimbabweans must come home, then they are not even willing to negotiate for us. If maybe the human rights, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ms. Mathuthu, we have actually gone across our own timelines in terms of our time here. So we thank you for actually joining us tonight on Studio 7, Live Talk, the Diaspora Forum. That was Miss Victress Mathuthu of Zim Imbogoto. And we also had Miss Wendy Dumazile Nkomo. She's a holder of the ZEP permits. And we also had Mr. Darlington Chiuta. He is also a holder of the permits. And signing off from Maryland, this is Gibbs Dube saying, good night, Zimbabwe. Let's hope we're going to meet again in other shows.
Yes, neni Jonga Kandemiiri Gibbs chingogadziridzapo kuti vachiuta ndiwo sachigaro weZimbabwe Exemption Permit Holders Forum. Ndinoti murari zvakanaka vateereri ndiri muno mu Maryland mu America.
Thank you, Jonga. Good night.